Hey folks, and then now we're going to be talking about resistance and resist. So we are up to 122, vocabulary lesson 122. And then now, let's start with first word, which is resistance. And so what that means is the refusal to accept or comply with something, the attempt to prevent something by action or argument. She put up no resistance to being led away. And this word here, similar to other words. And here it says it's opposition to, hostility to, aversion to, refusal to accept, unwillingness to accept, disinclination to accept, reluctance to accept, lack of enthusiasm for. And then here's the opposite. The opposite here says acceptance, receptivity, the ability not to be affected by something, especially adversely. Some of us have a lower resistance to cold than others. Resistance is a group of people who want to fight for good. Resistance is a group of people who want to fight for good. Resistance is a group of people who want to fight for good. Resistance is a group of people who want to fight for good. That's what that means. I will fight in the resistance to destroy the evil. And my word, and I said, which is, without any the resistance. I'm taking the resistance of not go to distances. That's my sentences that I came up with. Resistance means going against, to rebel, withstand, and oppose something. There was resistance between the two sisters who did not want to get along. There was resistance between the two sisters who did not want to get along. That's how you say that in a sentence. That's how you say that in a sentence, okay? And then next it says, the resistance means people are fighting back. The resistance means people are fighting back. And again, the resistance means people are fighting back. The resistance means people are fighting back. We were attacked, but the resistance stood up. We were attacked, but the resistance stood up. That's what it is. Okay? Resistance means a refusal to accept. They have shown a stubborn resistance to change. The troops met heavy resistance as they approached the city. The resistance means the act or power of resisting. The act or power of resisting, opposing, or withstanding. This ranged from subtle to overt opposition and sometimes violent resistance. Resistance is the act or an instance of resisting, the capacity to withstand something, especially the body's natural capacity to withstand disease. The opposition to a flow of electric current through a circuit component, medium, or substance It is the magnitude of the real part of the impedance and is measured in OHMS. Symbol R, compare, reactance, def 1 as modifier, resistance, coupling, never heard of that before. A resistance thermometer, any force that tends to retard or oppose motion. Air resistance, wind resistance. In psychoanalytical theory, the tendency of a person to prevent the translation of repressed thoughts and ideas from the unconscious to the unconscious to the conscious, and especially to resist. The analysts attempt to bring this about. Physics, the magnitude of the real part of the acoustic or mechanical impedance. So, from the movie called Star Wars, The Force Awakens. So, Kylo Ren says, I had no idea. We had the best pilot in the Resistance on board. And Poe says, the Resistance will not be intimidated by you. Finn says, listen carefully. If you do exactly as I say, I can get you out of here. Poe says, what? This is a rescue. I'm helping you escape. Can you fly a TIE fighter? You're with the Resistance? What? No. I'm breaking you out. See, now, in the Star Wars movie, The Force Awakens, it keeps talking about, they keep saying the word resistance, like so many times in that movie. General Hughes. Okay, let me start over. Kylo Ren says, General Hughes, is it the Resistance pilot? Yes, and he had help from one of our own. Princess Rey says, so you're with the Resistance? And Finn says, obviously, yes, I am. I'm with the Resistance. Yeah, I am with the Resistance. And he whispered. Princess Rey says, I've never met a Resistance fighter before. Princess Rey says, BB-8 said the location of the Resistance base is need to know. If I'm taking you there, I need to know. Finn says, between us, I'm not with the Resistance, okay? I'm just trying to get away from the First Order. Princess Rey says, this droid has to get to the Resistance. Oh, I didn't know that there was another part right there. Okay, so, and it says, this droid has to get to the Resistance base as soon as possible. And Snoke says, the droid will soon be delivered to the Resistance, leading them to the last Jedi. The weapon, it is ready. I believe the time has come to use it. We shall destroy the government that supports the Resistance. The Republic without their friends to protect them. The Resistance will be vulnerable. The First Order wants the map. Finn is with the First Order. Okay, Princess Rey says the First Order wants the map. Finn is with the Resistance. I'm just a scavenger. Finn says, I'm a big deal in the resistance, which puts a real target on my back. Han Solo says, if we can find it on our scanners, the First Order is not far behind. Want to get BB-8 to the resistance. Wow. They said that so many times in this movie. And this alien robotic person is speaking into some alien language, and it says, alert, the resistance. Their missing droid is here. Princess Rey says, you can't just go. I won't let you. I'm not who you think I am. And Finn, what are you talking about? I'm not the resistance. I'm not a hero. I'm a stormtrooper. Sorry, folks. Today is the end of the Republic. Okay, so the captain guy says, today is the end of the Republic. The end of the regime. I don't know. REGIME. That acquiesces. That's hard. That is a hard word. ACQUIESCES. I have no idea how to pronounce that. Wow, that's kind of hard. To disorder, at this very moment, in a system far from here, the New Republic lies to the galaxy, while secretly supporting the treachery of the loathsome resistance. And then the clones here says, scramble all squads. Repeat, scramble all squads. Head to higher cover and wait for our position. Han Solo says, it's the resistance. The stormtrooper says, sir, resistance fighters, we need more troops. Kylo Ren says, put the division out. Forget the droid. We have what we need. And Snoke says, the scavenger resisted you. Kylo says, she is strong with the Force. And Snoke says, then the resistance must be destroyed before they get to Skywalker. And then here's a whole truthful information right here. The resistance means when you refuse it, and which means that you don't want it. The resistance is an act. The resistance means when you refuse it, and which means that you don't want it. The resistance means when you refuse it, and which means that you don't want it. The resistance means when you refuse it, and which means that you don't want it. The resistance means when you refuse it, and which means that you don't want it. And again, the resistance means when you refuse it, and which means that you don't want it. One last time. The resistance means when you refuse it, and which means that you don't want it. The resistance is an act. Resistance is a noun, which means it's a thing. When you resist something, that means you don't want it. For example, his resistance to join the military, which means he don't want to be joined in the military. He resists the military. It means he does not receive the military. Between resistance, resist, and refuse means you don't want to. Between resistance, resist, and refuse means you don't want to. Resistance means When you oppose, it's like something that you don't want, that you resist, meaning with the word refuse and the other word which is reject. And when you don't accept, so between resist, reject, refuse, and unacceptable. Unacceptable is a synonym, not for it. For it spells with F-O-R-I-E-T. Unacceptable is a synonym, not for it, against it, oppose. Oppose, resist, reject, refuse. Resist has the similar meaning as reject and refuse. Resist has the similar meaning as reject and refuse. The root word of resistance is resist. Resist is a verb. Resistance is a noun. Resist is doing something. Resist is doing something. And the resistance. And that's it. So, next we're going to do resist. Resist is withstand the action or effect of. Antibodies help us to resist infection. Similar, withstand, be proof, against, hold out, against, combat, counter, weather, endure, outlast, repel, be resistant to, be impervious to, be impermeable to, keep out. Opposite, be harmed by, be susceptible to. S-U-S-C-E-P-T-I-B-L-E. A resistant substance applied as a coating to protect a surface during some process. For example, to prevent dye or glaze adhering. A-D-H-E-R-I-N-G. New lithographic techniques require their own special resist. To exert force in opposition, to exert oneself so as to counteract or defeat. He resisted temptation to withstand the force or effect of material that resists heat. Examples of resist in a sentence. He was charged with resisting arrest. These windows can resist very high winds. The drug will help your body resist infection. She couldn't resist telling us what she'd heard. He was able to resist the urge to tell her his secret. It was hard resisting the temptation to open the box. It was hard resisting the temptation to open the box. The offer was hard to resist. I know I shouldn't have any more cake, but I can't resist. To fight against something or someone that is attacking you. The soldiers resisted the enemy attacks for 2 days. To resist is also to keep or stop yourself from doing something. I couldn't resist laughing at him. All right, folks. That's it. The lesson is over. Hope you guys enjoy the lesson.